So tonight I'm going to try something a little bit different, and what is going to be happening is I went out today during my lunch, went shopping, and I found this little notebook, and it's a tiny little lined pad, quite cheap backing and very cheap fronting. It's all spiral bound? Yeah, spiral bound. And it only cost me 20p. Bargain! So I'm actually going to take a bit of the craft card and make a cover for it. So what I'll end up doing is having the black border along there, and then kind of having this bit with some pretty drawings on top. So it's doing the pretty drawing time. So to do this, I'm going to be using the Prismacolors, the Polychromos, and the Luminance pencils. And absolutely no idea really what I'm going to design, so this is going to be a kind of, I wonder if that'll work moment. So without further hesitation, off we go. The thing is, I haven't cut this 100% to size, so this is going to be quite fun. Right, let's think. So we've got to have a border. Yes, if it was landscape, I've got tons of ideas because it's portrait. Tell you what was actually that might work. That might work. So I'm just gonna work out a little outline. Currently I have no idea what I'm doing. So, starting to think and get a couple of ideas in my head. So, just need to add in some tonal layers. So that's the undercoats done. So now I'm going to come in, oddly enough, with a black pencil and just pick out some of the darkest areas, and then I'll come back in with a sharp white pencil and then just pick out some of the highlights. You'll see me rotating the pencil quite a lot, and this is literally just so that I can keep a very sharp edge. With an image like this, I'm not so fussed about major detail, but it's just adding a little bit of life to the character, if you like. You'll notice for the darkest areas I do quite a lot of cross-hatching. For this image I've just kept wings really super basic. In fact, if this was a living animal, these wings would not be functional as flying wings, but maybe more to do with gliding. That's actually the head. I'm quite chuffed with the head. Be more chuffed if my camera will focus. Hey ho. Right, so we're down here somewhere. I'm just putting in some of the detail of where muscles are and such. I do find with the craft card that you can only get so many layers down before it becomes too clogged up. I've not tried to put any blenders onto this card as yet because I don't know if it would even, well, work at all, or if it's just going to act like a grease mark where you get dark patches and such. Just put this wing into shade. Put a little bit of shading over here. And I can get rid of a little bit of the voice outline. I can just go over that with the pencil just to neutralise that a little bit. Right, and I just want to make that yellow a little bit brighter, so I'll use a luminance white, see if I can bump it up a bit, but I need the pencil very sharp. So I'm just using this on the bits where I haven't put a lot of hatching. Just to push a few of the lighter areas. In fact, I can bring this into the blue a little bit. And then just going to pick up a dark blue and just add a little bit more darkness into the shadows. Yeah, I rotate small drawings quite a lot so that I can get a decent angle on them. Right. So for the background, I might just add some silver spots, you know. The wings on this don't look great. Just trying to think if I can amend them. So it might be away. Right. So. because I don't want it too close to the edges. Because I've still got a little bit to trim off. It's a little bit better. Hopefully that's maybe a bit better view. Okay, so I figured out a way to manipulate the bad wing posturing, and that's to have it as if the creature is climbing up a tree using its wings or grabbing onto a branch. Hopefully this should work. But a lot of this is probably going to be trimmed out anyway, but I'd rather get it in there, get it on there, and then go from there. Just found a sandy kind of colour. Back in with the black pen to add the detail. This is then going to probably end up as a... I would probably sell this as a 50p little book. Though I've probably put a lot more than 50p worth of art supplies into it. Because it's such a small one, it's only 64 pages, it's going to be used pretty fast. So there's no point in me charging any more for that. And then, as with the... oh no, here's the clever bit. So I can now put the wing claw up here. And outline like so. Then just bring in some more of the browns. In fact, actually no, the black. Just to add a little bit of depth. And I think that'll do. So that's the image. So how am I going to attach this image? This is the tricky part. In fact, with all of the little books that I've been doing so far, they've all had a little bit of difficulty attaching. So I want said image to fit said notebook. So I'm just going to bring the camera out. See a bit more of the clutter. So straight away I know that the image is going to be a tiny bit too big. But I've left quite a bit of room at the top and the bottom. And it should fit okay at the bottom. I'm not going to put it slam back up against the wire. I'm going to leave that little black border so it will sit hopefully like that. And I'm hoping, actually let's have a look. I get the funny feeling, do it this way around. So I'm going to lose kind of that much, and that much. So, first thing I want to do is find a ruler and very carefully take out a little bit on the opposite side. So this is where, if you've got one of these boards with a griddy thingamabob on it, this is where it comes in really handy. Now I think the little narrow book is about A6 size, but I don't have a size chart on here. And normally I would have a Muji ruler, which has got like a lip, and that allows you to actually grip the paper you're cutting. So that's going to be my first mark. Now I do have a guillotine, but I'm feeling excessively tired tonight, as I've just come off finished work and it's been a difficult day today. So I've just trimmed off a tiny bit there. Now height wise, I'll measure this and do it in centimetres. So it's 12 and a half. So 12 and a half, if I take it 12 and a half, so if I take it from the top, so I need to take a tiny bit off at the top. So once again I'm just going to line it up with one of these. Put that over there. Once again I'm just going to literally take a tiny bit off. So I'm using the lines to give me a nice decent guide. I think I've worked out which line it needs to sit on. Just about there. I meant idealistically always do this with a guillotine machine or a rotary cutter. It will give you far better results. So 12 and a half on that. Sorry, I keep on going out of the camera's view. Right, 12 and a half. It's there, which is absolutely fine. Then come along, 12 and a half. There we go. So line up on the board. Twelve and a half. I don't think I cut my card straight in the first place, so all good fun. Now what I would like to do, that's roughly to scale, colours. I'd like to add a little bit of metallic. Now what I will probably do is spray this with the glitter varnish, which is coming up really nice. I mean, I like the silver one and I like the gold, but the glitter one, because it gives you all of the iridescent colours, I just find it looks more fun. And as it's a varnish, it does protect your work really nicely. But what I'll do is I'll spray it once it's actually attached. So I'm just putting a tiny bit of the silver pilot pen around the edge. should really put some silver dots in here as well. You have to be careful with that if you're doing edges like that. It does end up a little bit messy sometimes. If your hand slips, then you end up with silver where you don't want silver, and it's not something that you can take off. Let's put my other pen somewhere else. Oh, there it is. Right, so I'm just going to put in some silver dots. Anyway, I've got a little paper cup for a bin right now because my other bin is elsewhere. I would use my small pilot pen, but I'm having a little bit of trouble with that right now. I think I'm having trouble with everything today. I need to go in the bin. Right. But I can add that on later. I can spray varnish and then add it on. So for the sticking on type, what I found was, let's just double check it fits. Shove that out of the way. Right. Yep. In fact, I could trim that in just slightly, but I'm going to leave this side for the guillotine. But height-wise, yep. So it'll look something like that. Right. The first time I tried to glue on these book things, I made a massive mistake and I put PVA glue on there. I scraped it on, took a scrapey thing and scraped it around to make sure that it was flat and all of that. It bobbled and I ended up with a right mess. So now it's double-sided tape. Now I double-sided tape the drawing more. Some people say do the original, some people say do the drawing. Either way, you gotta remember, if you've got double-sided tape that's quite strong stuff, once it sticks, whichever way you pull, it's gonna pull the paper and damage it. So I tend to just do the edges. Right, hang on, let's bring the camera back. You don't want to see that. Right, so as you can see, I'm just putting on right up to the edge. If it goes over, I'm not so fussed because I can curl it backwards or trim it off. Normally I have thumbnails, but for some reason I've broken every single nail this week at work, either because I've been doing excess washing up, because there's some things at work we have to wash by hand, played with dishwasher too much. Industrial dishwashers are evil. So I've kind of decimated my nails. So this is not easy. I know some people can do this with tweezers. I'm not very good at that. Right. Let that bit go down. Yeah, I need my nails to grow back quickly. Yeah, me and sellotape, we don't get on. I get stuck to everything at work. Right, there we go. So, tuck that over. One thing I'd say, definitely don't put double-sided tape through your guillotine or your rotary cutter if you can. It's very difficult to get it out of the blades. Right, so I'm just trying to make sure that's all nice and flat. I'm going to put this one piece in the middle. So there we go. You can see the state of my hands, or to cut some smacks. So, most important thing, make sure whatever you're sticking your thingy to is the right way up. I cannot stress this enough. I've ended up with books back to front, which is absolutely fine if you enjoy traditional mangas and stuff, but a lot of kids don't quite get the idea of a sketchbook being completely back to front. So I'm aiming to line up one corner, so I'm lining up at the top, and I'm carefully adjusting, not putting really any pressure on. There we go. Right. So once I've got that where I want it, I'm very carefully just smoothing it all the way across. Some people will use a bone folder. With certain materials you can't put your hand across because you'll just smudge it, so be aware of the materials that you're using. Right. There we go, and that's my overlap, which we can now trim back. I'm doing this again by hand because I'm not going to destroy a rotary cutter for anyone. And there we go. So a boring little W.H. Smith's notebook. I've taken some craft card. Just noticing that bottom bit seems to be slightly out. We can fix that with some silver pen. So I've taken some craft card. I've done a little sketch on it, very little sketch, and just stuck that onto there, and that now makes that a perfectly fine, usable little notebook. So let's say that I will probably charge £1 for, if that, because what I'm covering is the craft card was a scrap, so I'm not so bothered about covering the cost of that. It's just literally putting some pennies towards the pencils. I'm not really charging my time because it was just a quick and easy little sketch. It's not a perfect sketch by any means, so I'm not going to charge top dollar for something that isn't perfect. But it's a bit of fun. So next I would go out and spray that, and I think it's raining outside, so that will have to wait till the morning. Then it'll need a few hours to dry, and that'll be ready for sale. So I hope this has helped inspire you to have a look at your card scraps, your paper scraps, and if you've got any little old notebooks that you've bought, or if you're like me and you go around hunting the sales in the kind of magazines, shops and such, and you see a really cheap little notepad or even an A5 one. As you saw there, all I had to do was the drawing onto the craft card stuff, and really any cardy stuff would work with this. Black card would be very good if you can get your layers right, and then just a case of double-sided tape it on, and voila. There's no branding on the back, so if I wanted to, I can colour in the back. Shall we? Yeah? Okay. Right. Might as well make this little stream a weeny bit longer because we've only been here about 40 minutes, haven't we? And half of that's been me sharpening pencils. Right. So let's see. So that side, let's bring a little dragon that way. So let's try and do a even more basic design. And this time I'm going to use quite a slightly lighter pencil. So this one's probably going to look a little bit better because I have more of an idea of what I'm doing. At least this way I don't have to worry about the drawing being too big or too small, because the card's already attached. So there's our outline. And just mix up the colours a little bit. I've actually got all the colours that I've been using just in a carrier bag to the side right now, because I've been taking the pens to work with me just during my breaks, trying to chillax. Just realised I'm saying a lot. Right, no more ums. I think it's due to a slightly stressful time right now, so I did it again. So it's trying to find a way to relax, and doing quick sketches like this I do find very handy in trying to relax, because it takes my mind off of everything, because I have to concentrate on what I'm drawing, so I can't really think of anything else at that point. Be interesting to see how well this recycled cardboard handles the pencils. It's not doing too bad so far. Okay, so I'm just deciding which colours to go with, and I'm actually going to try purple. So it'll be the same principle as the image on the front, but just a couple of different colours. And because this is like a recycled card, your pens slip into it a little bit, so you do kind of feel them sinking slightly. So I think I'm gonna be very restricted on how many layers I can get, so I need to be a bit more cautious of where I'm putting the colours. So let's just take a quick outline. And rotate. Yeah, I can feel the pen catching on the grittiness of the cardboard. So that's a much more simplified image. So just try and build up some detail. I don't know how much we're going to get on this one. I think we might actually have to blend over a lot of it with the midtones. So that's one side. This is the other side coming along. So now I'm going to come in with the indigo blue, which is one of my favourites, and just start building up some of the detail. And any more detail that I want to bring in, I can now, because I've got a layer down, I should be able to bring the black in and just tidy up afterwards. I just want to put some shadows in before I bring in the black. I'm hoping tonight our tawny owl, our local tawny owl, will start hooting. Apparently I slept through a lot of hooting last night. Again, I was very tired. So hopefully tonight it will continue to hoot, and if there's a male and a female, then you get the coo kind of sound. And I do have a owl whistle, so it's like a wooden log, and if you blow through it in a certain way, it replicates the kind of woohoo sound that some of the owls make. But it is lovely having the tawny owls. Sometimes you go out in the day and they'll be sat around on the fences, just chilling. Oh, I do miss the badgers. We used to have a lovely family of badgers come into the garden. We used to sit just a couple of feet away from them. No problems whatsoever. Absolutely beautiful. Huge, great big beasts. I mean, if one had decided to take offence at me, I wouldn't have been fast enough to get out of the way. But as long as they were offered peanuts and such, we quite happily sat next to each other. But then something happened, and I get the fearful feeling that they got wiped out because of their set was literally next to a house, and I fear that the new occupants of the house may have decided to get a license to remove the badgers, which is a shame. I think we should make more effort to live side by side with our fellow creatures. So I'm putting a blue, very very light blue layer down. Yeah, I think I'm very 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 restricted to this side. A couple of highlights in there. Need to add in the white spots, and then I'll come through with the black pencil and just pick out a little bit of the detail. I've not put so much energy into this one because it's on the back of the book for starters. Also, I can just feel that this recycled card stock stuff is not going to take much at all, so there's no point in trying to force it. Right, black pencil. Just quickly redefine that eyeball. Actually, I need to sharpen this pencil. So just adding in a little bit of cross-hatching here and there, just to indicate areas of shadow. But because I put a lot of that down before, the underdrawing's already got that in. and then bring in the white luminance to just push a few of the highlights. What's happened now is I can actually start to feel the fibres breaking from the cardboard, so that's pretty much all I can do now. Once you feel the fibres going, then you can't really go any further. I can add a tiny bit of shadow down there. I think that is literally going to be it. So craft card from Crafters Companion will give you a lot more layers than just recycled normal card. You can get a lot more detail onto that than you can onto this normal card. So if you can save up and get it, it's a well worth buy. There we go. Right, so that's two sides of a little book. So the first side was done on the Crafters Companion Kraft card, which has taken the luminance and the polychromos really nicely. The white pen is just there to accentuate the image. The cheap cardboard that came with the notepad has hardly taken any layers, and you can't get really any detail into that because your pen sinks into the card, which really does stuff everything up because the inks, well, it's not sitting where it should. So I'm just going to add some more spottly doodles. There we go. Right. And I definitely think that's now it. So I hope this has inspired you, as I said earlier, to go out and get a couple of really cheap notepads, even really cheap sketchbooks like I do a drawing on a separate piece, get it on there and have your own front cover. It'll make your work more unique, and especially if you're at school or college, and you'll have a product that you'll be using that will be absolutely individual to you. So instead of having 50 million pucker pads or something like that which all look the same, you're going to know where your pad is from everybody else. And also it's a good fun exercise, and you could do these and sell them at whatever you paid, just probably double at the price. That way you're making something back and you can go out and buy some more. But look out for these little notepads on the cheap, because they do turn up a lot in sales. I'm quite chuffed with that. I like the front more than I do the back, but this is part of the learning curve. So then I'll spray varnish that with the Crafters Companions spray glitter, which is a part glitter, part varnish. And then that'll be with the rest, hopefully, for April. So thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. I hope this has helped you. So till next time, take care everyone, and happy drawing to you all.